All right, this is week 2, Algebra 1. We're going to look at getting ready for units. One of the most important things you can do, because this is how you connect Algebra 1 with the real world. Okay, 3 units. Units are words that come after numbers. And you've seen them before, so this is going to be, well, let's go. Sunny's garden has 9 tomato plants, 5 pepper plants, and three squash plants, and 6 pumpkin plants. So our units in this case are tomato plants, pepper plants, squash plants, and pumpkin plants, because those are what the numbers represent. For every 3 tomato plants in Sunny's garden, there is 1 blah. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's look at our ratio. Okay, so we have tomato plants. And so which one of these pairs of numbers could represent a 3-to-1 ratio? Well, we know we have 9 tomato plants, right? And then it's asking about if we only had 3 tomato plants. So we would have to take this 9 and divide it by 3 to get 3, right? So what other number in this list, if we divided it by 3, we get 1? Well, it's got to be 3. And that is squash plants. So the ratio of tomato to squash plants in the given data is 9-to-3. And if you reduce that ratio, it would become 3-to-1. So the answer is squash plants. A pink crayon is made of 12 milliliters of red wax for every 5 milliliters of white wax. So let's make the ratio 12/5. I could have wrote it with the dots, but this time I want to write it as a fraction. And that's because in algebra, you will have ratios, but they'll be written as a fraction. Like the slope is the fraction of the change in y over the change in x. So which of the following will create a shade of pink? This one is just a multiple of our ratio. So when I'm looking at the 10/24, oh, and this is red and white. 10/24, that is a multiple of 5/12, but it's reversed. It's supposed to be 24. Yeah, so this is like this. So as you can see, the time 12 is on top in our given information, and the 24 being on the bottom. That would work if our original ratio had been 5/12 and we were multiplying by 2. But our original ratio is 12/5. So now how about 48/12? Will that work? No, because our original ratio of 12/5 here, if we multiply by 4, we get from 12 to 48. But if we multiply by 4, we do not get from 5 to 12. 13/6. Well, that's just wrong. All right, 36/15. No, I'm feeling good about that one. Let's look at it. So 36/15, is that an equivalent ratio of our given? Let's write our given. If we multiply 12 by 3, we do get 36. And if we multiply 5 by 3, we do get 15. So I think we're going to pick that one. Well, let's click get help. Oh, it said choose 2 answers. So I was not wrong, but 60/25 works as well. See? And that is why I did that, to show you that it's okay to get stuff wrong. All right, Lane reads 25 pages in 30 minutes. This is, so yeah, in algebra, we might see it like 25, 30, or 30, 25. This looks like a coordinate on a graph in algebra. Now, it's not a coordinate on a graph here, but just saying. Here we want to find the unit rate. Okay, so pages at the same rate. So we want to, it's like this. We have 25 pages in 30 minutes, right? And that's equivalent to 200 pages in X minutes. And so we could cross multiply, and then we'd get 25X equals 6,000, 30 times 200, and then divide by 25. So do you remember about cross multiplying? And then 240, I knew that. All right, 240. Whenever you have a fraction equal to a fraction, cross multiplying is great strategy. It's the one I use. All right, Nayeli lights a 4 meter squared space with 12 candles. Lally lights a 10 meter space with 30 of the same candles. So whose area is brighter? Okay, so what we can do is we can find the unit rate, the meters. Okay, so 4 meters squared, 12 candles, and 10 meters squared, 30 candles. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the situation and trying to make sense of it. And what I'm thinking is that whoever has more candles per square meter has a brighter space. So what we can do is we can reduce these to the lowest fraction and see which fraction is bigger. So 4/12, you can divide the top and the bottom by 4, and we would get 1/3. 1 meter has 3 candles. Yep. So every meter has 3 candles. So I wonder, can we get this one down to 1? We can. If we divide the top and the bottom by 10, we get 1 meter and 3 candles. So we can see they're equal. Amazing. They're equally bright. Okay, so you can, let's see if you can finish the rest of that. This is the same, wait a minute. You want me to do this one? I want you to try this one. And also, if you get stuck, just like I did, click get help. Okay, but that's a little bit of, so in that one, you're setting up ratios, cross multiplying, making sense of the problems, and it'll be a really good one for you to think through, even when you get stuck. Number 2, there are about 454 grams in a pound and 16 ounces in a pound. About how many grams are in an ounce? Okay. So let's write down our given information in a way that helps us make sense of the problem. So we have 454 grams per 1 pound. And there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. And the question is how many grams? There's X grams in 1 ounce. Okay. So now that I have written this, I'm thinking that I want to find out how many, okay, so how many grams are press pause. Okay, so I just wanted to, I want you to see me think this. So we want to know how many grams are in an ounce. So we want to see, what if we did this? How many, find out how many ounces I have, grams. All right, this time I'm just gonna think through it by myself, so you don't have to watch me scratch my head. All right, I got it. Took me a minute there. Okay, so guess what? What we could do is we can say if there's 16 ounces in 1 pound, that also means that there are, so I'm just gonna put this down here, 1 pound is 16 ounces. 16 ounces is 1 pound. 1 pound is 16 ounces. And this relationship is still true. I'm gonna change that. But now, if we want to combine these two, they're both 1 pound, and that means we can say that 454 grams is 16 ounces. Then we can just take and divide that. So I'm going to do 454 divided by 16, and you get 28.375. 28.375 grams per ounce. And so that makes sense because you should know that ounces are bigger than grams, but not that much bigger than grams, not 7,000. Oh, a graph, look at that. Okay, a swimming pool sets a maximum number of swimmers that can be in the pool based on the number of lifeguards on duty. The points on the following coordinate plane show the maximum number of swimmers that can be in the pool when 2, 4, and 5 lifeguards are on duty. Aha! So 3, so we have to fill in the blank, you see. So what we could do is we could connect the dots between the ones we have, and now we're using algebra here, because now I can see the missing number would be 120, because these 3 line up in a straight line. So the 3 lifeguards is also going to follow that linear pattern. 120. That was a really cool problem. And it was about looking for the pattern in the data. So important. At the zoo, for every 6 adult camels, there are 5 baby camels ratio. So right away now I'm noticing what I have, like what topic I have. So 5 adults for every, 6 adults for every 5 babies. And then we have 444. You know what? 44 adults and babies put together. Okay. So now we got to complete the table. You remember the ratio table. So the total camels in the ratio is 11 if we add 5 plus 6. And so we can use that to get our missing numbers here at the zoo. Yeah, so when they give you a ratio, you can always add the 2 parts together to get another. So there's like 3 ratios we can make. We can make the part 1 to part 2 ratio. We can make the part 1 to the total. And we can make the part 2 to the total. And then we can use those to find the others. So part 1 to part 2, we know that's 5 to 6. And part 1 to total would be 5 to 11. Part 2 to total would be 6 to 11. You following me? Just putting these three numbers in their combinations. So the baby camels, how to figure that one out, we can take the 5:11 ratio and set it equal to, we don't know the total number of baby camels, but we know there's 44 total camels. And now we can cross multiply. So what is 5 times 44? 220. 220 equals 11x. Divide both sides by 11. And we, I'm not interested in doing this math. 20. Why I keep using the calculator? 20. All right. So it's 20 baby camels. And guess what? I could set up the ratio and find the adult camels, but I'm not going to because I know the total number of baby and adult adds to 44. So just doing this in my head, 20 plus what is 44? I think it's 24. 20 plus 24, 44. There you go. Okay. Double number line here. The double number line shows the ratio of yards to miles. How many yards are in 4 miles? Okay. So looking at these tick marks here. So what I think we should do is, since we have our ratio, we could take that and divide it, and that would be our unit rate. I can't believe we've gotten this far and not said unit rate. If I divide these two numbers, I get 1760, which means 1760 over 1, you should know. And so that means that's 1760 for 1. If I multiply that by 2, I get 3,520 for 2. And then if I add 1760 to that, multiply it by 3, 5,280 for 3. And then if I add the 1760 again, 7,040 for 4. And fun little exercise to fill in my number line. So 7040. Man, look at me go. All right. Oh, you can do the last one. Fill in that pattern. Okay. Quiz 3. Let's go. A baker has 3 banana muffin recipes. Recipe A uses 3 bananas to make 12 muffins, 5 bananas to make 24 muffins, 11 bananas to make 48 muffins. Order their recipes by number of bananas per muffin. So what we're doing is we're just writing the ratios and simplifying the ratios. So I'm gonna organize my info. So 3 to 12, 5 to 24, 11 to 48. I'm just going to divide these numbers, and I knew that. That is 0.25, 0.20, or 0.21, and 11 divided by 48 is 0.23 when I round up. All right, so recipe A has the most, least to greatest. So recipe B has the least. We can see that recipe C has the second most, and A is most bananas. Okay, so now here, the first thing I read was the question, and it says, how many dresses does she sew in 1 hour? That's the unit rate. Okay, so we want to know the unit rate, how many dresses she sews in 1 hour. So let's read the info. Lucy is a dressmaker. She sews 4/7 of a dress in 3/4 of an hour. She sews at a constant rate. Anytime we're trying to find the unit rate, what we do is we take and divide our two quantities. you know? So 4/7 of address, we're just going to divide it by 3/4 of an hour. But when you divide fractions, you flip and multiply. So that would be 16/21. So that's going to be my answer. 16. No. So I'm about to say if I made a mistake, but I did not. Vivi is a drummer for a band. She burns 756 calories while drumming for 3 hours per hour. So you can do that. That's what I just told you. Per hour, another unit rate. Oh, now in this one, what you want to do is you want to find the unit rate. So divide, 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 and compare. Right. Oh, I got it. But, it's just, that doesn't count. It shouldn't count for you if you accidentally get it. All right, so with that, try quizzes 1, 2, and 3 for yourself and post in the organizer.